In a 2004 interview, critically acclaimed American underground filmmaker and writer Kenneth Anger talked about the contemporary gay cinema scene. He lamented that queer art has now been gentrified and made bland, something that it inherently isn't. He longed for art to be transgressive, provocative, and touching. There are no better examples of such pieces of art than gay French movies. And what is better than one gay French movie, you say? A list of 14 of the very best gay French movies.
À moins d'un avis, je suis repos, c'est tout.
Beats Per Minute, a French film set in the 1990s, follows a group of AIDS activists in Paris. The movie, directed by Robin Campillo, delves into the lives of these passionate individuals as they fight for recognition and treatment. The film's non-linear storytelling keeps viewers engaged, while focusing on characters like Thibaut, the pragmatic leader, Sophie, the eloquent activist, and Sean, the fiery provocateur. The movie also explores the complex relationship between Sean and Nathan, highlighting the challenges and joys of love during a time of crisis. The movie Beats Per Minute is a powerful reminder that political issues deeply affect our personal lives. It tells the story of a time when people died because governments ignored the AIDS epidemic, treating it as a punishment for those with different lifestyles. Even if you know a lot about this history, Beats Per Minute is a wake-up call. It's a film that urges us to stay engaged and fight for what's right. Un chant d'amour. Picture this. The eye of a prison guard on duty is caught by the sight of a bouquet of blossoms being repeatedly swung from one cell window toward another, where a hand reaches for it but fails to grasp it. The guard goes to investigate and begins peeping into a series of half a dozen cells. Each of these holds a single male prisoner, and in each of these cells, the guard sees a different erotic spectacle. His excited eye fixes on the wordless dialogue between a young murderer, identified as such by a sign above his door, and an older North African man. They communicate through the confining cell wall, which itself becomes the object of desire, an object that is caressed, kissed, punched. This sight fires the guard's fantasies of sex with a succession of men, which appear in a chiaroscuro light. The older prisoner's fantasy is also shown. He dreams of a woodland romance with the young murderer, who holds a sprig of blossom in front of his fly. The guard's fantasy ends in penetration, while the prisoner's finishes before his belt is unbuckled. If the 1950 film Un Chant d'amour, or A Song of Love, wasn't banned, nor suffered so many cut scenes, it'd probably be up there among the sexiest French films of all time. French writer Jean Genet wrote and directed this 26-minute movie set in a men's prison where inmates grapple with their sexual desires and passionate emotions. On top of that, this was released in 1950, a time when France was just recuperating after World War II. While on the subject of filmmaking, what do you think makes a great LGBTQ+ movie? Express your thoughts in the comments section below. Beau Travail. Claire Denis's Beau Travail is among the most memorable French gay films of all time, and for various reasons. The first is that it's one of the first queer movies directed by a female director. Set in a French military garrison somewhere in Africa, it tells the story of Adjutant Chef Galoup, who serves in the French Foreign Legion. When Gilles Santan joins his section, he immediately feels a mix of emotions. Both his inferiority complex and suppressed homosexual feelings take hold of him, eventually leading him to torture Santan in the process.
Une expérience sexuelle ou t'es amoureuse? J'en sais rien.
Summertime, the French title of the movie, La Belle Saison, is more apt for this evocative film. This simple and admirable movie, directed by Catherine Corsini, looks back at the early 1970s in France. It begins with a scene of rural life at its most sun-dappled and sweaty. Teenage girl Delphine helps her farmer dad mow and bale hay. During their labors, dad speculates on Delphine's personal life, to which she responds, "I don't want to get married. I don't want to." He asks if she's seeing any boys. She truthfully says no, and then asks what she does when she goes out for late night walks. Delphine's love interest is another girl, and on a late night a little while later, that girl tells Delphine she's getting married. Soon enough, Delphine just up and moves to Paris. The performances in the picture are all solid, but what makes Summertime really refreshing is that it doesn't treat its central romance as anything but wholly normal, despite the attitude of other characters, or indeed, the tenor of the time in which it is set. There's a distinctive formal difference too in the way this film's sex scenes are shot and edited, and the way those of another recent French drama about a lesbian love affair. If you were a producer and given an unlimited budget for a gay movie, which of the actors or actresses would you choose to cast? Tell us your top 3 in the comments section.
Des années que je rêve de faire ça. Mourir.
Portrait of a Lady on Fire set in 18th century Brittany, the film tells the tale of a female aristocrat, Eloise, who refuses to have her portrait painted. This is because she refuses the arranged marriage that the portrait will help facilitate, as was customary at the time. A painted portrait would be sent over to a prospective husband for him to sign his approval. You know, like an elaborate swipe right option reserved only for men. The portrait would then presumably hang in the future house, serving as a constant reminder of the wife's status as an object. Following the failed attempts of a previous artist, Eloise's mother arranges for Marianne to secretly paint her daughter's portrait by posing as her walking companion. The resulting film is one where the observer becomes observed, and the author becomes authored as the two women end up falling in love and working together to produce the painting. While the film does have a lesbian love story front and center, the romance aspect can be slightly underwhelming. The film more than makes up for it with several other strong suits. Shyama's beautifully written dialogue is made even better by the performers reading them. There's not many other characters in the movie at all, so everything relies off of their chemistry to make the movie work. So, does the chemistry work? Well, this film was one of 2019's most talked about movies, and it remains among the most critically acclaimed films of the last decade. I hope that answers the question.
Il paraît que tu t'es pas défendu.
Being 17 post-New Wave French director André Téchiné teamed up with Céline Sciamma to write the screenplay for Being 17. The movie's French title, Quan on a Dixet Ans, comes from Arthur Rimbaud's poem Roman, which begins with the line, "One is not serious when one is 17. This lyrical film is about the sexual awakening of two high school classmates, Corentin Fila and Casey Motet Klein, who start out as enemies, but when forced to live under the same roof, realize that they have feelings for each other. Both young actors shine in this film, as does Sandrine Kiberlin, who plays the mother of one of the two boys.
Votre nom?
Orphée.
Votre profession?
Poète.
Orpheus Jean Cocteau is another major figure in LGBT history. While he was a renowned poet, artist, and writer, his distinctive films are the most potent part of his legacy, particularly his gothic adaptation of the Beauty and the Beast fairy tale, La Belle et la Bête, and his lyrical modernization of the Greek myth of Orpheus, set in contemporary Paris. While the romantic relationships are straight, the iconic imagery is unquestionably queer. Cocteau casts his former lover, Jean Marais, as Orphée, who attracts the romantic interests of a woman in black, soon revealed to be Death. After she claims the life of his wife, he must brave the underworld to ensure her return. The camera's lingering gaze over the handsome male actors, the theme of leaving a normal reality to transgress into a world beyond society's norms, and most famously, the leather-clad bikers who accompany Death on her reaping missions mark this out as a key queer work. While writing this list, I personally came to realize that French cinema, more than any other language, has the most unique perspective of LGBTQ issues. Leave a comment if I am just being a francophile, or if my observation is indeed true. Laajo FS. Even before the drag race phenomenon, drag was already a fixture in comedic cinema. The 1978 French film, Laajo FS, was one of the first to show it. Italian actor Ugo Tognazzi stars as Renato Baldi, the manager of a Saint-Tropez nightclub that features drag queen entertainers. One of its main stars, Albin Mujot, or Zaza Napoli, is also his lover. When Renato's son Laurent arranged for his fiancée and her parents to meet his family, a hilarious comedy ensues. Most notable, Hollywood remade this French queer film in 1996 entitled The Birdcage, starring Robin Williams, Nathan Lane, Gene Hackman, and more.
Dans le coin et je me suis dit qu'on aurait pu aller boire un verre.
Blue is the warmest color. The movie tells the story of a young girl named Adele who falls in love with another girl named Emma. The director, Abdelatif Kechiche, takes a unique approach to this story by focusing on the intimate details of their relationship. The film is quite long, but it's meant to be that way. Kechiche wants the audience to experience every moment of Adele and Emma's love story, from their first meeting to the depths of their passion. The movie shows the couple exploring their feelings for each other, sharing intimate moments, and discovering their sexuality together. Kechiche pays close attention to the physical and emotional aspects of their relationship, including their sexual experiences. The film is known for its explicit and lengthy sex scenes, which have been both praised and criticized. However, the director's intention is to portray love and desire in a raw and honest way.
Vos filles pourraient nous aider.
Mes filles? Oh, n'y comptez
The
pas.
young girls of Rochefort file this one under queer aesthetic. In the most excessive of Jacques Demy's films, he creates an infectiously cheery musical in which everyone has a ball. Catherine Deneuve and Françoise d'Orléac are the damsels of the title, looking for love in the sunny seaside town of Rochefort. But will any of the attractive men on offer fall for their charms? There's nothing explicitly gay here, but any film that shoves Jacques Perrin in a sailor suit, squeezes George Chakiris into tight white trousers, and decorates itself with lavish, lurid sets definitely has a queer eye. Its relentless good nature isn't for Scrooges, but it's a hard heart that can't enjoy Gene Kelly's surprise cameo, or the vision of Deneuve in elbow-length gloves, chain smoking while removing a chicken from the oven. Trust us, it's amazing.
L'espoir qui est revenu. Je sais pas comment elles sont belles, comment...
Les Invisibles. Undoubtedly one of the most riveting queer films to ever come out of France, Les Invisibles tells the story of gay men and women who openly lived out their lives in a time when society shunned homosexuality. The plot teeters between their willingness to express their love for the same sex and their desire to still fit in among normal society. And at a time when most gay films, be they from France or Hollywood, focused on young love, Les Invisibles dared to put old men and women front and center. Don't be shy and use the comments section to tell us your most iconic character or scene from a gay movie of any language.
Des garçons comme d'autres garçons, enfin des homos, des pétés. Merde, te fais pas plus con que tu ne l'es non plus.
Me, myself, and Mum. This film is an adaptation of French comedian Guillaume Gallien's successful 2008 stand-up show. In it, he analyzes his close relationship with his mother and how it contributed to his understanding of femininity. Gallien explains how, growing up in a conservative bourgeois family, he felt that he was a girl in a boy's body. Throughout his adolescence, he was mocked and bullied, but he ultimately learned how to express his own identity, rather than merely imitating his mother's personality. What makes the film particularly funny is that Gallien plays himself and his mother, wearing a preppy outfit and a wig while chain smoking. He says hilarious things like, just because your brother tried to drown you doesn't mean that you should get so worked up.
Je crois que je suis en train de tomber amoureux.
Stranger by the Lake. The will he or won't he turn him in tension in Alain Guiraudie's Stranger by the Lake has earned it comparisons to Alfred Hitchcock's suspense films like Shadow of a Doubt. Pierre Deladonchamp plays Franck, a solitary man who spends his summer vacation cruising for hookups at a secluded gay beach at Lac de Sainte-Croix in Provence. Charmed by Michel, a new member of the lake's community who sports an excellent mustache, he decides to pursue an affair with him. The problem is that Franck's the only person who witnessed Michel drown another man in the lake. A fascinating meditation on desire and vulnerability, Stranger by the Lake might very well be the best gay murder mystery out there.
Je t'aime tellement, il faut que je t'aime comme je suis.
Je comprends pas.
Lawrence, anyways. Take the 1966 French comedy movie Pédale douce, for example. While groundbreaking for its time, it felt somewhat formulaic, ticking off a checklist of LGBT tropes: closeted relationships, surrogate parenthood, acceptance and rejection, drag culture, and the shadow of AIDS. It painted a picture of a community constantly defined by its sexual orientation and gender identity. Lawrence Anyways, however, takes a more nuanced approach. While the film undoubtedly explores the complexities of gender transition, it avoids reducing its protagonist, Lawrence, to a mere symbol of the transgender experience. Instead, it delves into the profound impact of this transition on a long-term relationship. The film's central conflict arises when Lawrence reveals their true identity to their partner, Fred. This honest confession, rather than leading to immediate understanding, sparks a series of emotional and existential questions. Fred's response, a poignant reflection on the nature of love and identity, challenges the couple's bond and forces them to reevaluate their future together. We hope you enjoyed this article. If you did, please share it with your friends and family, and be sure to check back soon for more updates on the latest and greatest in French cinema. Also, let us know in the comments below about your favorite French gay films.